Hello, it is Holistic Christian Life again, and we are continuing our series in creation. And today, especially, we are going to be looking at the spatial creation. At the middle, someplace in the sixth day, after God had created all the universe, the fish and the birds, the wild and domestic animals, all the plants and trees, he said, God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. As we look at it as God, Son, and Holy Spirit, and the Father joining together to make man in his image. That's in the spiritual image of God, in the likeness of holiness. Goes on to say, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, over the livestock, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Genesis 1:26. Genesis 1:27 says, so God created in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. God made man and woman equal in the spiritual sense and in many other ways. We have different functions in life, but in God's sight, we are equal, and we were created in his image with a soul, with a spiritual reality in our lives. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and every living thing that moves on the earth. God said, behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is for on the face of the earth, and every tree with seeds in the fruit. You should have them for food. And and in every beast of the earth and every kind of animal in the heavens, the birds, and the creeping things, and all shall have the life and breath of life. I have given every green plant for food, and it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And that was evening and morning, the sixth day. God blessed them. He blessed them as we would bless our children. loved them, walked with them, talked with them, told them they could have dominion or stewardship over the entire earth and all the creeping things. And in the first 5 days, he said things that he created was good. And now on the sixth day, he said it was very good. He was blessing man and woman, humanity, as being very good. We see that there was in Genesis 2 a second narrative on the creation, and this one's a little bit more detailed about man and woman. And we see here in Genesis 2 5 through 7, when no brush on the field was yet in the land, and no small plant of the field had yet sprung up, for the Lord had not caused it to rain on the land. There was no man to work the ground, and man and no and a mist was going up from the land and was watering the whole face of the earth. Then the Lord formed the man out of the dust of the earth, out of the dust of the ground, and he breathed into him into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. It is important to understand that man was created mature, adult, lying down on the ground. He wasn't dead, he hadn't breathed yet, but his respiratory system, his digestive system, his cardiac system, elimination systems, the skeleton and skin, reproduction system was all there completely in him as a mature person. And then God breathed into him the breath of life. In a few moments, Adam's heart began to beat. He began to breathe in air, oxygen. He was able to stand and take nourishment as needed at that point. God planted this Garden of Eden in the east. And there he put man that he had formed. Out of the ground the Lord made to spring up every tree that's pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was also there. And he goes on to tell us that out of this area was 4 rivers that flowed. We aren't saying that absolutely, positively, without any question, that the Garden of Eden was in what is today the present Babylon. But Babylon has been a center of attention through the decades, centuries, and millennium. But we do see where there was these 4 rivers flowing. God took man And he put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And God said that you may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in that day that you eat of it, you shall die. These two very important trees. The one was setting boundaries for you and I. Man and woman had free will, and they needed to live within that free will and not infringe upon God's commandments. And then God said, it's not good that man be alone. I will make him a helpmate. And in this narrative of the creation, we see that God formed every beast of the field. Under the heavens, he brought them to man. Man named them. But whatever name he gave them, kept. However, at the end of the day, Adam didn't see anybody like himself, and he was lonely. God caused a deep sleep to fall upon man, and while he was asleep, he took one of his ribs and closed it up in its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord had taken from man, he made into a woman and brought her to man. Notice it was the rib, not a foot bone, not a knee bone, not an arm bone, not a head bone, but a rib bone, indicating how man and woman is equal, with different functions, of course, but we are equal in God's sight. Notice when God completed making that woman, she was a mature adult, laying down on the ground right before God raised her up and introduced her to man. She was mature in her respiration system, in her digestive system, in the circulation system, in the elimination system, in the reproduction system, in the skin and the bones and the hair. She was complete, mature woman. God raised her up and introduced her to man. And then we find this very important verse. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. So many men today join to a woman in marriage and still run home to mommy and still being controlled in their life by daddy. I may say that this works the other way too. So many women marry and then continue a strong relationship by obeying and doing what her parents tell her. We need that strong relationship. We need that help and guidance and support and love from our parents. But we must cling to the one who we have become one flesh with.